I'm Sarah Gulseth.
And I'm Peter Slayton. I'm not Andy.
No. I finally got this whole, I'm Sarah Gulseth thing down, though. The first day this week, coming back from vacation and having to run the board, I got really confused. And I almost said I was Andy. That was really strange.
That's even more awkward than me not being Andy.
Right, I know.
Yeah. Excellent.
But we're good now.
Yeah.
It's Thursday. It's Thursday, January 10th. We have a lot of exciting things coming up in January, and March for Life's coming up in Chicago this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend on Sunday.
Yeah. And then in D.C. next weekend.
On Friday.
Yeah, which we'll both be at.
Yep.
Coffee Hour's going live.
I'll be at Chicago on Sunday.
So all our
we'll
Chicago
talk about
people.
that in a little bit, won't we?
Yeah, we will. That's our second segment today. We have Betsy Kirkin on from Concordia Chicago to give us a little of the lowdown of if you're going to a march, how to prepare yourself.
There have been some years when I have not survived, and some years that I have.
Right. So we're hopefully going to prepare people for success.
Yes.
Going to a march. And also, because of the March for Life, we've been talking about a lot of life issues this month. This week, I guess it's first week back from vacation. Talking about life issues that span from conception to death, including people with special needs. How do we care for and love the people around us who have special needs? So today we get to talk about a really special event happening in Jackson, Missouri. We have Pastor Eric Longman with us, who is pastor at St. Paul Lutheran Church in Jackson, Missouri, on the line to tell us a little bit about the Night to Shine that will be happening at St. Paul. So welcome, Pastor. Thanks for joining us on the Coffee Hour.
Thank you. I feel like I should probably start by saying I'm not Andy either.
It's always good to be clear about these sorts of things, set people's expectations properly.
Yeah.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about St. Paul Lutheran Church in Jackson, Missouri.
So St. Paul is a big congregation in a relatively small town, and we're a congregation of about 2,300 people in a town of 15,000.
Wow.
So a really neat kind of mix of large congregation and a basically rural setting, which has been wonderful for me. I've only been here about 3.5 years, but it's been really cool to kind of get the feel of the town and of the congregation, which has 125 years of history behind it.
So at this Night to Shine event, what caused you to want to put this on in your congregation?
So one of our members, Jordan Meyer, volunteered at a Night to Shine event in St. Louis while she was in college. And when she graduated and came back to Jackson, she sent me an email and said, "Hey, Pastor, I participated in this really cool event. I would love for us to be able to do it because there's nothing like that in our part of the world." And I was familiar with Night to Shine from other congregations that have done it that I was aware of. And for me, it was just a no-brainer. I was like, yeah, absolutely, we'll do that. And we did a little research and checked to make sure we weren't going to step on any toes of other congregations in this area. And the closest one really is about 35 miles south of us in Sikeston. And so we applied to the Tim Tebow Foundation, who sponsors all of this and kind of guides and leads it. And they accepted us to be a host congregation, one of about 700 this year who will be doing it all on the same night.
Wow.
So a really cool event. I mean, it's designed to be a prom night experience that's centered on God's love for people with special needs, ages 14 and up. And we'll have everything you can imagine. We'll have obviously a dance floor and a DJ and all that fun stuff that goes with it, a karaoke room. We'll have a sensory room for folks who get a little overwhelmed. I'm hopeful that we will have comfort dogs present. We'll have a respite room for caregivers, just a lot of, big activity, lots going on in a night that's really focused on sharing Christ's love specifically for those with special needs.
Absolutely. How will this night benefit the people in your congregation? You have such a large congregation.
Right.
How are the people in your congregation going to be able to participate in this event?
Well, a lot of different ways, and I should say I'm one of 3 pastors here at St. Paul, and my focus is really on outreach. Our mission statement is belonging, becoming, and building. Belonging really about baptism, bringing us into the family of God. Becoming is about growing in our relationship, about becoming more like Jesus and learning more. And then building is about building bridges into the community and really playing out the love that Christ has shown to us. My focus is on building and outreach. And so for me, this is an opportunity to shove people outside of the walls of the church, even though it's happening here, to focus on our community and ways in which Christ's love can shine out into the community. So our hope, and it looks like it's going to be more than this, our hope is that we would have at least 75 guests with special needs. I think it's going to be closer to 100. And then what it does, in order to support an event that size for 100 guests, we're going to need a lot of volunteers. And so it gives the congregation an opportunity to step in and to actually serve and to be a part of this event. So my guess is we'll have 150 volunteers by the time it's all said and done.
Now, for this event, what kind of feedback have you been getting from the community, and is the community also able to be involved maybe as some of those 150 volunteers?
Absolutely, yes. And the response has been terrific. We had there was an article published in the Southeast Missourian, our local newspaper, about a week ago, that really did a terrific job of explaining what the event was about and what we were doing. And so we've had a very, very positive response from the community. We absolutely have opened it up for anybody to volunteer. And here's a great example of how the community has rallied around it. I got in the last 3 days, I've had calls from community members who are not members of our congregation. One of whom owns a restaurant who said, "Hey, I want to donate food. Tell me what you need, and you got it. And I don't want any recognition for it." I had another email from a gentleman who's a prominent member of the community, not in our congregation, who said, "I know you got to do background checks. I want to underwrite the total cost of that. It's about $1,000."
Wow.
And then I had another email from somebody in the community who just said, "This is cool. I love it. I'm sending you a check for $1,000 to help you."
Wow.
So the community really has said, "Hey, we love this too, and we want to be a part of it."
That is fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. What has your congregation's experience been with reaching out to people with special needs? Is this something that you've been doing for a while, or is this a new kind of venture for your congregation?
That's a great question. I would say both. In this sense, we do have several members of the congregation who have special needs. And they're, well loved by the congregation, and so there's always been a heart for folks with special needs. But this is, to my knowledge anyway, the first time we've done an event specifically focused on people with special needs in the area.
What would your advice be for a congregation who's considering something like this? What are some of the maybe hurdles you've had to overcome, and then some of the we've talked a little bit about the joys of it already, and I'm sure you'll have more on the other end, but what would you want to tell a congregation that's thinking, okay, is this something we can do?
Right. I will say a couple of things. One is it was a terrifying prospect to think about throwing an event this big. I mean, even with a big congregation with lots of resources in terms of people available to help, there's a lot that goes into this. But what has helped a lot with that is that Tim Tebow Foundation, who really sponsors the Night to Shine movement. They're the ones who started it up. We run it under their direction and guidance. They provide a phenomenal amount of assistance to pull it off. So, I have a book on my desk here of probably 75 pages of things to think about and checklists and guidance and, a direction about how to put it on. And we have a contact person at the Tim Tebow Foundation who helps with any questions that might come up. They've also provided a little bit of financial assistance, which I have a feeling we're going to be sending back if people keep being so generous.
Wow.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
But then the other thing is that it's what's been really, really helpful here is that we have a group of volunteers who this is big on their hearts. And they've come together, and I told them, I said, we'll totally do it, and I'm here to knock down walls to make it happen, but I can't plan it. I have to be a pastor. I have to do all those pastor things that I do. But
I do have a call, to do these things.
But we have a steering committee of about 8 people who really have tackled this and have dove into it and are just running at it with all cylinders banging.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Before we run out of time, let's talk about the details of the event. If people are interested in attending, when and where, and how can people find information?
Okay. So let me give you that first. The URL to find information. We're at stpauljackson.com. And if you go to our website, you will find a Night to Shine tab on the very top, and it's got all the information. The event is February 8th, which is a Friday, from 6 to 9 p.m. at St. Paul Lutheran Church in Jackson, Missouri. And all of the sign-up sheets and information about participating are on the website. You can sign up a guest. You can sign up to be a buddy. We'll have every guest matched up with a buddy who will kind of lead them through things and make sure that they know where all the events are and can participate. Or you can sign up as a volunteer for one of 50 million different things that are going on that night.
That's awesome.
And there's also information if anybody wants to throw some money at it. There's information about making donations too.
Excellent.
Great. So that's St. Paul, stpauljackson.com to find information. And we have just about 30 seconds left. But what do you hope to get out of this event for the community? I know it's a big question with a lot of time.
Really, it's awareness and just kind of fanning the flames of that love for all people, and especially people with special needs, of giving them a night to really shine and to be special and to understand that they are kings and queens in God's sight, and to let that message, that gospel message, kind of waft out into the community, so that people get a sense of just how amazing this love of Christ is.
That's great.
Awesome.
Pastor Eric Longman, pastor of St. Paul Lutheran Church in Jackson, Missouri. Thanks so much for being our guest on the Coffee Hour today.
Thanks for having me.
We have more Coffee Hour coming up next, talking about the March for Life.
And more coffee. I need more coffee.
And more coffee. Yeah, I got to drink some more coffee. I'm Sarah Golseth.
And I'm Peter Slayton.